Welcome to Home Tiny Lab. My name is Christoph. Today we will speak about how to change hard disk in TrueNAS. As introduction, there is a pool in my TrueNAS server and there is one drive out. I had to physically to disconnect the drive to be able to boot into TrueNAS. So now we will see in this video how we can change our drive and how we can also upgrade our disk volume in TrueNAS. Okay, we are back. The disk is now in the system. Now we are going to boot the system up. Okay, the system is booting up. To the management page, same IP address, 192.168.0.10, enter. Okay, we have to log in. Root, password. Let's begin over again. Okay, password and login. Okay. Let's go to the pool status RAID 5. Let's go to the disk and do the faulty disk that we have taken out of the system and now do replace. We see on position 7, SATA 7, a new disk. That's the right disk that we have pulled out. Okay, and replace disk. Okay, I'm getting now the message after 30-40 minutes of working. I got a message replacing disk. Successful replace disk, /dev and the rest. Okay, let's close this. And now we see that the resilvering process is busy. Time remaining is at 3% for the moment. So here I will stop the video and I will come back again when he has done the resilvering of the disk to see in which state the TrueNAS server is at that moment. Okay, we are on day 2 now. Something went wrong when I was changing the first time the drive. The new drive that I had was bad, so I had to do it all over again for a second time, and today it's up and running. So I'm returning one drive to Amazon and I will buy another one because I have still to have 4 drives to upgrade my pool. So for the moment I only have 3 drives, but I will continue to change them. The next drive to change is again in pool RAID 5, but fast overview. So disk data, okay, I will do it again. So in data, pdev, we've got all the drives that are online. So I have one on SATA 0, on SATA 4, on SATA 7 and on SATA 6. The one I replaced was on SATA 7. We'll have a look at this. So if you want to identify, so I had a 2 terabyte disk that was broken, and I replaced it with a second good drive of 6 terabyte. Okay. The next drive that I will change will be the SATA on SATA 6. And to identify the drive, I use the serial number. Normally on every hard disk that I've seen so far. So this is the next disk to change. Before I'm going to change the disk, I will check the pool a little bit more. One thing that I'm going to do, I am during the day using my NAS normally, but I will also scrub the pool. The pools, okay. Here we go to drop down menu and we choose scrub pool. So starting job and scrubbing. So when he has done with scrubbing, I will continue with changing the disk. It will be on SATA port 6. See you back then. The scrubbing of the pool almost done. Okay, scrub complete on pool rate 5. Close. Let's look at the status. Okay. 0 error. Scrub status finished. Okay, let's go to the second drive that we want to change. So the first that we have changed, I repeat, is the one on SATA port 7, and we are going to change the one on SATA port 6. How can we know this? If you go again to the pool, you see your drives, SATA 0, SATA 4, SATA 7, SATA 6. SATA 7 was this serial number and is 6 tera, so that's a new one. And for SATA 6, it's still 2 tera, and that's the one we are going to change. Serial number 6YD 154RV. Okay, let's go to the storage and pools. Let's go to status again of RAID 5. RAID 5, pool name, and take this disk offline before we replace it. Confirm offline. Now that the disk is offline, we can shut down the system. Confirm shut down. And the next step is physically replacing the disks. So the server is back up again. Now we are going to replace our drive. So we are going to storage again, pools, RAID 5 and going to status. Anyway, of ever drive that is offline. And we're going to replace it. And selecting the drive on port SATA 6. So, and then click on replace disk. Okay, so disk successfully replaced and close. And now we see that the resilvering is started up again. When this is done, I will do all my routine again. So from scrubbing the pool, selecting my other disk to change, until my pool exists of all 6 terabyte disks and that I have upgraded. But for now, I have to wait 4 to 5 hours. It's going more down when the time continues. 5-6 hours before I can continue doing the rest of the pool. So this was it for the second day. On day 3, I hope that I can replace the other disk that I have here, and then I will have to wait for the 4th disk to come in by mail. Day 3, the scrub is finished, and now we are going to replace drive on SATA port 4. And going to dashboard, going to data of the devices. So those two are already replaced, AD7, AD6. And now we are going to replace AD4 on SATA port 4 and update this drive to a 6 terabyte hard drive. So this is still a 2 tera, and this is the serial number. Okay. Remember, I use this serial number to identify the hard disk. So I'm going to shut down now the TrueNAS server, and no, almost made a mistake. Go to status, and we're going to take this drive on SATA 4 offline. Offline disk on AD4, which is on SATA 4. Confirm offline. So this disk is offline. Now I'm going to shut down and replace the drive. Shut down. So the system is back online. The hard disk has been replaced. So now we're going to replace the newly installed drive with the drive that was on SATA 4. So we are going to pool RAID 5 and going to the status. Okay. So we see here that this drive is offline. That's the drive that we are going to replace with a new installed one. So replace, selecting the new drive on ADA A4, the SATA 4, and replace. This procedure doesn't take too long, and then after that the resilvering will take place. And that's where I am going to stop the video, to continue on another day with the replacement of the last disk in the pool. Okay, replacing this successfully replaced. Okay. Close. And here we see resilvering process is begun. So I will let it run a little bit so that you can see that this is going down really fast in the beginning. So we went from 7 days to 1 day in a few seconds. Now we are already in hours, and it will stop somewhere in the region of 5 to 6 hours. What it is really taking as time in. Okay. So I'll be back when the resilvering is done and when I have my last disk that is still on the road. So it's a replacement disk of my disk that was dead on arrival. What cost me some trouble in the beginning. Okay, here we are going to leave until day X or day X when I have the new disk. Day 10 or day 11, I lost track, but my new drive, my replacement drive arrived for the broken one. So I can continue now the upgrade of my TrueNAS server. So let's have a look at which disk I have to replace now. Right, so I'm already logged in. So it is pool RAID 5 that I was doing the upgrade for. The disk to replace is the one positioned on SATA port 0. This is still a 2 terabyte disk, and this is the serial number to identify the disk to replace. If we go to the status of pool RAID 5, we see here the disk to replace. I have done a scrub yesterday when the drive arrived in preparation of this replacement. So I will take now the drive on SATA port 0 offline. Offline disk ADA 0, okay, confirm. Offline. So the pool is in a degraded state now. Now I'm going to shut down the server again and replace the disk, and I'll be back afterwards. Shut down. Here we go. Okay, disk is replaced. So let's have a look to the status. So we have the disk that we have replaced still offline. The pool is degraded. Let's look at the space that we have for the moment available. Let's go to pools, storage. Let's go to storage, pools, and it indicates that we have 1 terabyte 0.27 free. Let's go back to status and replace the drive. replace, select the newly installed drive and replace disk. Replacing disk successfully replaced. Close. We see that the disk is online. And the resilvering process is started. Let's have a look to our storage and pools. Okay. So we'll have to wait when the resilvering is done to see if it has changed something to the free storage. I'll be back when the resilvering is done. The last disk is in, and the resilvering process and scrubbing is done, and the volume is expanded. So we are at 10 terabytes of free space. Now we had some trouble when the disk was just placed and the resilvering process was busy. It was giving some errors, checksum errors. Here it's the second or third time that I tried to scrub after cleaning the errors, and it was always giving checksum errors at the disk that I replaced and some on the other disks. When the resilvering, when the scrubbing was continuing all the resilvering, it was adding always checksum errors at a good steady pace. So what at the end, what have I done? I've cleaned the errors, changed the SATA cable, because when I replace a disk, the only things that I'm touching is the SATA cable. I'm not touching the memory or something else. So I first tried to reseat the SATA cable, but at the end I changed it. And when I boot it up again, and I went to the storage and pools, also it was not anymore in a degraded state but online. The only thing that I had to do, because you can only expand the pool when there are no errors on, I expanded the pool and all free space was assigned and usable by the pool that I upgraded. So I did some tests. I have replicated the dataset movies from the pool volume 1. So movies from the pool volume 1. I've replicated it to movies in the pool rate 5 as a test. So I have replicated over 1 tera of data with no checksum errors, no data loss. All the files that were indicated like corrupted when the scrubbing or resilvering took place were not affected. So I have a good working pool for the moment. The degraded pool is solved and the expansion is done. As conclusion, would I do it the same way that I did it? I'm not sure. I think that I would try to put another server in where I can replicate my new data from one server to another. So when something goes bad, you don't lose really much of data that you have to restore to recover. So this was it for this tutorial, or let's say a real life solution for degraded state and upgrade for a pool. If you like content like this, please subscribe. If you liked it, please hit the like button, and there is also the other button that you can use. So thank you for watching.